Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. Everyone always bangs on about how much they love their HyperX headsets, and it's one of those brands that I always only hear good things about. Now, only until quite recently they reached out and I asked them what they thought was their favorite headset right now, so I could give you my verdict on them, and here they are. And that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video, because HyperX sent over their new Cloud Stinger Core Wireless 7.1 for us to check out. And yeah, these aren't the same as the old Cloud Stinger wireless cores or whatever they had before. They're a whole new headset, so let's check them out. I want to preface this video by saying that I've been using these for a little while now to give them a really good workout. And also, if you guys are new here, I make all the music on the channel, so I know what good music should sound like because I've been producing music basically forever. Now let's take a quick look at what you get in the box, and there isn't a lot. Basically, you get the headset itself, you get a USB Type A to C cable for charging, and a 2.4 GHz wireless dongle. The build quality, it's okay. It's not amazing, but for someone with like a fat head like mine, they're decently proportioned, and yeah, I would be careful with them though, because there is quite a bit of flex in them. Now, the Stinger cores, they don't have rotating ear cups, which I think that should be pretty standard for most headsets these days, but they have this breathable mesh fabric on the actual ear cups themselves, which is okay. You can hear them. They're a little bit scratchy if I'm honest, but ultimately they didn't really hurt the comfort that much, and the headband has this padding on them as well, and it's adjustable, and yeah, it's decently comfortable. I don't see a huge problem with these. Now on the left ear cup, it's much of the same stuff. You get a boom arm microphone, which can basically, it activates when you lift it up and down. There's a USB Type C port for charging. There's a volume dial that controls the operating system's volume, not the actual volume of the headset itself. And there's a power button, and on the right ear cup, there's nothing except for the fact that it's a right ear cup. All right, let's talk about all the numbers and all the specs to get that out of the way nice and early. We usually do this towards the end of the video, but yeah, I just wanted to change it up a bit. Now, all the sound is pumped to your ear holes via a set of 40mm neodymium drivers. The drivers have a frequency response range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz with an impedance of around 16 ohms, and they have a total weight of 244 grams. The wireless range is approximately 20 meters, which I did test, and it's right about on the money as advertised. The microphone has a frequency response of 50 Hz to 18 kHz with a unidirectional pickup pattern, but I'll let you guys decide if you think this microphone sounds any good. As far as battery life, out of the box, I didn't charge them, and they had around 60% battery life, and I played around 10 hours of COD before I decided to charge them, and they sat on around 5% charge for around about 3 hours. So I'm not quite sure how accurate the battery level in their Ingenuity software is. They claim around 17 hours of battery life, and yeah, I'm gonna say that it's pretty accurate based on how much I've used them, but I literally couldn't completely empty them because they just didn't die when I wanted them to die. And this kind of leads me into the next thing. How are they to wear for extended periods of time? Now, these are a super light, right? They weigh almost nothing. 244 grams isn't a whole lot. And for them to go on my head for like 10 hours at a time with a fat head like mine, they're actually pretty comfortable. And I didn't suffer from any fatigue from the sound, or overall, it was actually a pretty pleasant experience. And using the headset as well is pretty straightforward. You basically just plug the USB dongle into your PC, install the HyperX Ingenuity software from the Windows Store, which from what other stuff I've seen and what I've tested, it's not really compatible with anything other than PC. And while we're talking about the software, I understand that Ingenuity is a beta, but there's no options to configure any EQ settings. There's basically a toggle for 7.1, there's a master microphone volume and a master volume, and that's it. And you can kind of see already where this video is going. And I feel like I say this every single time I check out a headset, but it starts off promising, and then I check for sidetone and it's always missing sidetone. Now, sidetone is one of the most important configurable features on most gaming headsets. And unfortunately, again, there is no sidetone with this headset at all. And I can't lie, I was actually pretty disappointed with the fact that it didn't have sidetone right out of the gate. I just don't understand why a huge chunk of headset manufacturers still don't give us sidetone. It just doesn't make sense. How many times do I need to say this? It's a really important feature that just cannot be overlooked. It should be part of the design spec for every single headset when they were like, hey, we're gonna make a new headset. I think we should probably put sidetone in it. I don't know why they don't do it. Maybe it's part of their target demographic or the price, but I don't see any of those things impacting sidetone. Now, going back to being normal again, I always judge a headset with how they sound with music before anything else, because for me, that's basically my primary use case. And I want to know how they sound with all the software turned off. And luckily for us, there's almost no software options except for the 7.1, which I'm going to come back to in a little bit because it gets a little bit interesting. So anyway, like, how do they sound for the music? Well, the answer is, it's pretty simple. They're pretty capable. They aren't bass heavy, but they have a nice sub kick. They aren't tinny, but you can hear everything quite distinctly. They're kind of dead smack in the middle of good and average. And honestly, they aren't particularly remarkable, but they aren't bad either. That's not to say that they aren't good for the average user though. Like, I reckon for a regular user who isn't as spoiled for choice as someone like me, that they're actually going to be fairly decent. I mean, hang on. They would be decent if they didn't push this whole 7.1 surround sound thing, which unfortunately leads me into the next thing with this video. How they sound with games. Now, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately in my spare time, and with these, they're pretty good. The positional audio is pretty decent if you use them in stereo mode. The 7.1 mode is, how can I say this lightly? It's not good. It's really, really not good. And all they've done basically is just added a bit of reverb, and it makes everything sound like it's 400 meters away. And yeah, I would highly recommend not installing the software and just using them in their out-of-the-box state. They are far better using them that way. The 7.1 on this headset completely ruins what is otherwise a pretty decent listening experience for both gaming and music. Now, there's also like a few things that I really don't like about the HyperX Cloud Stinger Core Wireless 7.1. And the first thing you can probably guess is the name. It's just too long. That's also me being like ridiculously picky. But the second thing is, again, it's the sidetone. I'm a serial shouter. When I play games, if I can't hear myself, I'm just gonna scream louder over the top of myself. So sidetone to me is super important. And I know a lot of people out there play games like me and they're super obnoxious, so please give us sidetone. And if they had sidetone, this headset would be a no-brainer. And the last thing is the software. I get what HyperX is trying to do by making their software available through the Microsoft Store so it integrates nicely with Windows, but please make this software available separately. I don't like using the Windows Store. A lot of people don't like using it that way. And not only that, there's basically no need for the software at all because the 7.1 is terrible. Just don't install the software, use them in stereo mode, you'll thank me later. Other than those other weird, obvious quirks, I actually think they're pretty decent. They aren't amazing, but they're right around that average to good point. They don't have RGB, they have pretty good battery life, and they sound good. All the things that you would expect from a wireless gaming headset. So if you're new to PC gaming and you don't have a headset and you don't want a headset with RGB, or you have a set of headphones and you want to not spend a small fortune to untether yourself from your desk, I think the HyperX Cloud Stinger Core Wireless 7.1 is actually a fairly decent choice, minus the 7.1. Now, if you're interested in grabbing a set of these, they're going for around $80 or around 169 Australian dollars at the time of filming. The US price actually sounds and seems pretty decent. The Australian price where did they get that number from? Anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, or consider hitting the join button to support the channel, or getting early access to videos just like this one over on Floatplane. If you didn't like this video, you're gonna have to hit that dislike button twice. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peak, we seek. And just a quick comparison to like some other wireless headsets that I've got on hand. They are nowhere near as good as the GSP 670s from Sennheiser. They're nowhere near as good as the Corsair Virtuosos. The microphone is okay on these, and the Sidetone for me, personally, it just makes them not as attractive, but they do sound relatively good. So if you're trying to get a pair of wireless headphones on a budget, out of all of the cheaper budget focused ones, these are probably the ones that I would personally pick because they sound pretty okay. Thanks for watching.